The Simpson Bus Company at Rosehearty started from very modest beginnings. William Simpson became senior horseman at Aberdour House in the early 1890s. Shearer, who worked of Aberdour House, became his wife. In 1895, he became a baker vanman and shortly started his own horse-drawn buses. In 1898, he and his wife entered the hotel business, and it became the Temperance Hotel at Rosehearty. This was because at that time alcohol was frowned on, and it was a new venture in a new direction. In that year, William bought Samuel Hudden's daily horse bus service to Fraserburgh. Good business mind, William started up 4 daily service to Fraserburgh railway station and took the customers to his hotel at Rosehearty. The success of the hotel business meant the family had to spend the summer months in tents on the links. This was mainly because the fishing industry was still fairly strong in the town, and many of the workers came from the Highlands to Rosehearty to work in the fishing industry. William and Elizabeth, 7 children. 1 unfortunately died in infancy. James Shearer Simpson married Margaret Ann Ritchie and lived at 15 Dingle Street. Euphemia married Bailey James Taylor, who owned first the School Farm Dairy and then Lochie Lair. William married Jenny Forbes, daughter of Geordie Forbes, boatbuilder, Sandhaven. He lived in the Old Manse, UF Manse. Jean Simpson married Alec Duthie, who had a dance band, and Jean played the piano, Peter played the drums and sang. Frederick Barclay Simpson, who married Mary Shand of Holland Park. Peter Simpson married Jean Murray. Peter played pro football for Plymouth, Argyll, Aldershot and Ayr United from 1933 to 1936. William served his time as a tailor at Macduff. Euphemia was a trained singer and played the Rosehearty church organ for many years. In 1910, the horses were replaced by a motor bus. But in 1912, the Great North of Scotland Railway bought William's bus, as they now planning a light railway from Fraserburgh to Aberdour via Rosehearty. The GNSR ran the service until 1927. Soon after, GNSR gave up this service. William started his bus company in earnest by operating runs from Fraserburgh, Rosehearty, Aberdour and Pennon. From them, the depot moved from the Temperance to 57 Union Street in 1930. In 1938, Jim took over from his father, who had died, and the bus entrance was transferred to a move to Shore Street. The company then expanded rapidly with new routes to Gardenstown, CPT Factory, and the Tuner, a well-supported Fraserburgh town service. Jim also started a haulage with 2 Comers, 2 Bedfords, and an Albion. This transports fishermen's nets and fish from Gerlach and Ullapool to Fraserburgh fish factories. One of these drivers was Wilson Carnell. One lorry ran a daily parcel service from Aberdeen to Fraserburgh via Strichen in Upper Sligo. Driver George Scott, kent better as Scotty, who had a New Bedford LSA 11 in 1955. Bill Wisely also was one of the drivers. There was also a taxi service and a funeral hearse. In 1950s, Joe Inch was the tyres and batteries man. Sandy Monroe was the heavy lifting duties person. Jim Perry Sandhaven was on bodywork at the joiner's workshop. Mechanics were Sandy Campbell from Newport Sligo, Peter Simpson, Jackie Irvin Aberdour, Leslie Forbes Sandhaven, George Murray, later 1950s, Archie Dewar, Gerald Duthie. Jim started taking over other bus companies in the 1940s. Walker's Aberdour in 1947, with routes to Aberdeen via Newport Sligo and Strichen. The same year began a route through Inveralches and Combs to Aberdeen. In 1948, Strachan brought routes from Fraserburgh to these villages. In 1949, Dean's buses of Findhorn brought routes to RAF Kinloss, Dyke, Findhorn, Effinia, and Jim Taylor moved from Lochillier to Forres to manage the expanding business there. In 1951, James acquired Cheens of Aberdeen and John Darrells of White Rashes. This further expanded the company through Udney, King's Seat, to the hospital and White Rashes. James died aged 55 in 1955. He had no family, so it came to his wife and brothers William, Fred, Peter, Margaret. Margaret was paid out, leaving the three brothers. In 1955 saw the acquisition of Thomas Gibbs' two buses in Fraserburgh. They decided to concentrate on haulage. William Jr. left the company in 1955 and bought the Forbes Arms Hotel. Fred left in 1958 and started the filling station in taxis. Peter, sole owner, carried on with acquisitions of James Kindness of Banff in 1958, with licences from Banff to Gardenstown and two licences from Kinlochbervie to Gardenstown for northeast fishermen. James Kindness Jr. became a bus inspector with Simpson's. The herring fleet was now operating on the west coast, Kinlochbervie, feeding the Klondikers. The herring fleet was now operating on the west coast, feeding the Klondikers. In 1966, Peter acquired 6 licences from Ullapool to the northeast from Noble's bus service, Muirford. Peter had just bought 9 new coaches, 9 Fords, 4 Bedfords, and then hired a further 6 Ullapool to northeast licences from Miss Mackenzie at the Garth Hotel, as she was not using them. Young Peter joined the company in 1962 and it became Simpson's Motors. In 1965, Dr. Beeching closed the Fraserburgh to St. Combs line. Simpson was awarded the licence to operate the route from the traffic commissioners in the face of strong opposition from W. Alexander, who wanted the route to continue to Peterhead service, where the A90 meets the B9033. Simpson then bought 8X Yorkshire traction Leyland double-decker buses to operate the Fraserburgh to St. Combs. Harold Wilson came to power in UK and W. Alexander started buying up all the stage operators in its area, such as Burnett, Mintler and Simpson. I then went to work for Eastern Scottish with Alexander, and Freddie Simpson worked for W. Alexander and Rosehearty. In 1968, Freddie left and started with one Bedford coach stationed behind the Temperance at 21 Union Street. Freddie prospered with local school contracts and transporting fishermen from places like Falmouth and Plymouth. The premises at 57 Union Street became available, and Simpson Garage became available again, and he transferred to it. JL coaches John Simpson and his wife Lorna for 1983 for 12 years transported fishermen from Ullapool and Plymouth. Freddie's family, Ronald, started at 21 Union Street in May 1987 with one coach. 1975 Bedford Duple dominant. He now has 20 modern coaches operating from depots in Rosehearty and Aberdeen on contracts, and Simpson's holidays travelling all over the UK and continent. Fiona and her father started Classy Taxis in Fraserburgh. Now she has 30 taxis and minibuses, mainly operating school contracts. So the family is still working with buses and taxis, all started by William Simpson in a very modest way.